Hello and welcome to Sports by Compion. My name, of course, is Stephen Compion, and I'm joined here by a very special guest for our Midwest rugby series that was stolen from this very club, in fact, that has now come on to see us. Michael Creppen from the Northwest Indiana Reapers is blessed to join this show and give us his presence, give us his breakdown, give us the information. Hello, Michael. Welcome to Sports by Compion.
Hello, thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you here. As I mentioned, you're president slash vice president, captain even over there. Heavy claims against Sports by Compion, but we won't get into the whole thing of it, Michael. Glad you're here. Happy to talk some Reapers rugby with you. Happy to talk some Carfu rugby in general. You know, what a season out of Carfu, huh?
It was great. Like to see Lake County moving forward, going into playoffs. We had some great matches. It was a really good season.
Yeah, the Reapers also had a pretty good year, despite not winning the game. Compared to the previous years I've seen out of you guys, solid year.
Yeah. So we had a strong spring. I think it was partly because we were playing teams that maybe we should have beat, but we played well. We brought in a lot of young guys. I think we believe we're going to have a real strong fall season based on some of the younger guys. I have to admit, I think that we actually definitely have improved over the years. We have quality guys. We have younger guys that are learning the game, that are stepping up. But the quality of our league is phenomenal. I mean, I think that's
so good.
From top to bottom, we really have a strong league. I think years past, the team that we had, we would have been 3-3, 4-2 in years past, and going 0-6. But we had some good matches. We were in every match. We never gave up. We never quit.
Yeah.
I think it all came down to halves. One half we would win one half and we lose the other half. We lose a half and then win a half, and we just need to put it all together.
I think we had Jeff from Lake County on here, which will actually be released after this episode. So get excited about that, sports fans. But either way, it's just kind of funny. I was talking to him like it's crazy that Lake County is suddenly getting so good right here when Rockford's turning a corner. When I've seen huge improvement out of the Reapers, Peoria had an off year for sure, but it's just kind of crazy that we all seem to be, peaking around the same time. Even the Woodsmen, you'd think they maybe were having a bad year. Nope, they still got huge numbers. Show up and kick our ass at home. Like it's a crazy league, dude.
It really is. I mean, to see it. It was cool to see like Lake County, because I remember a few years ago we beat them, and we would always have strong matches with them, and to see it. But you knew, like you specifically, we both knew from watching them in the sevens tournaments when they would have 15, 20 guys and they were winning these sevens.
Dude, they would show up with two of their own banners, like 4 coolers, 20 guys on the sidelines, 5 people just there to watch. And me and you would be showing up with the daddy squad, like 4 guys. Hey, can we get some of your dudes? And like, sure, send over some of the scrubs.
Right.
No disrespect to the guys who played for us that year. I'm sorry. But we were getting the guys who probably weren't going to see the field that day. And like, all right, yeah, head over to the daddy.
Right. We did. We were getting the guys that were never going to play.
But let's talk a little bit about that Daddy's season. We don't have to get into the whole Daddy's tour, which was covered here on Sports by Compion because we do that kind of stuff. But yeah, particularly the Memorial 10s weekend to end out the Daddy's tour.
That's the same thing with the Daddies, where I saw a lot of improvement through the tournaments from the Daddies, where even the first tournament we had beat the Woodsmen. You saw that we had the quality, and I think we finally were able to put it together for the Memorial 10s tournament, which was a great tournament. First of all, the facilities are awesome. That was my first time up there, and I actually think it's a nicer facility than don't know who's listening, but the Blaze, even I think I would prefer Wisconsin's facility over the Blaze.
For sure.
But yeah, that tournament was great. We did really well. We made it to the semis, and I think we probably could.
Yeah, we did
should
win a
have won
playoff
that
game,
night.
right? We did
What's
win the
that?
playoff game. We did win one round of the
We
playoffs,
did.
right?
We made it. Because remember, Fox Valley had to win for us to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
so we actually helped them by putting some guys on that team.
Caleb and Mike went over there and balled out,
right?
Among some other guys too.
Absolutely balled out, and then we won the quarter. I think we won at least one playoff game, if not even two. We may have won two, but I know we made it to the semis. We were in.
Yeah, you're right. It was the semis. You're right. It was a very good team we played in that semifinal, man. They were loaded.
Yeah, so that was talking to the one guy that we had picked up that was from Wisconsin. He
our mercenary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, let me just say, $10 well spent, Michael. $10 well spent, dude. That dude was a baller, a little fucking muscle hamster.
That
shout out to Anthony.
He was good. He was there. I believe he was the Wisconsin's D2 side starting scrum half. And what happened? So what happened was the two teams. Wisconsin put two teams in. It was
that guy at scrum half. Can you imagine? Like it makes sense. He's a little bit shorter.
Hooker,
okay, that makes more sense. I was like, Jesus, dude, that guy at scrum half. They can afford to do that? Holy shit!
No. He was. I didn't know
this moves. Oh man.
I didn't know if we were allowed to say hooker on the podcast.
I mean, yeah, there's no one touching that.
No, so Wisconsin, they had the two teams. So the team that won it was the University of Wisconsin alumni team, which was mostly Wisconsin guys. The team we played was another alumni team comprised of mostly Wisconsin guys.
Yeah.
So it was like the younger guys from Wisconsin and the older guys from Wisconsin, and that's who was in the championship.
Yeah, it was a good mixture of the two teams, though. I remember, like, the other team had some younger guys, too, and they're like, don't talk about that too much. Don't get them too excited. But it was interesting, good for Wisconsin Rugby Club. Another team that had a strong fall as well. They did lose to Lake County in the playoffs, but overall, strong year out of them. I think their D2 squad also made it to the playoffs, so they're going to be a problem again in the spring. I hope to get them again.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that spring was strong, kind of propelled you guys into the fall. Let's talk a little bit about it.
And so we started off again. We started having some numbers. We had a lot of rookies, and then we ended up picking up a couple young guys that were basically just barely out of high school, and they're going to be studs. We have these three 18-year-olds that are very strong. We have a lot of. I was counting up. I think. Guys that play considerable minutes. I think we have 8 or 9 guys all under the age of 23. And they're all and we have a lot of guys that had played rugby in high school or in college that are now joining us. We're in discussions with a coach. So, because we didn't have a coach last fall. And I think, that kind of hurt a little bit, not having a coach. I think having a strong leader as a coach, not just a captain / one person, running things. And not only are we looking at getting a head coach, we actually have 2 old boys that are going to join as assistant coaches. So we're going to actually have 3 coaches.
Oh, that's awesome.
I believe one of the old boys was going to play or try to play a little bit, but we're going to actually have a staff. We're going to have a
man. Staff. Wow, that's amazing.
So
we still only have the one, so good for you guys.
So we're, and then like I said, we had a lot of young guys. We had a lot of rookies. I think we had 6 or 7 rookies. Some of them had rugby experience. So it's just gelling. We finally had 20 guys coming consistently to practices, and we did. We saw an improvement. The one match I did miss, but I heard we were real strong at was against you guys.
Yeah, hopping into that game real quick. I don't know how the Rookie of the Year race is going to go, but my vote is for whoever the heck was wearing number 6 in your absence there, Mike. Thunder Thighs himself. I've mentioned this year on the podcast. I don't know what the kid's name is, dude, but I've never in my career of rugby been called for being carried. Didn't even know that was a thing. Had no idea that was a penalty until this kid carried me for like probably 3 or 4 yards. And the referee was like, hey, you can't do that. I was like, word? Well, first of all, I didn't expect him to carry me this far, but it's good to know that that's also against the rule.
I think you're referring to Braden. So, because
I think
I'll
so.
give a shout out.
That's
Braden,
my rookie of the year vote. What North
Braden,
Indiana? I don't care. It doesn't matter. But Jesus, that kid was good. Every time I had to tackle him, it was a bummer. He would like look at me and like not try to juke me at all, just come right through me. I was like, dude.
Oh yeah. There's Braden, Brian, and Joe. I'll give a shout out to them. Those are our 3 younger guys that had never played rugby before this season, and they were studs, all 3 of them.
Speaking of young like studs you guys got over there, shout out to Avery. I know he kind of took over some captain duties this year with Marcus kind of going off to France during the season. It was cool to see, man. I think you guys got a very good young leader there. And I've heard he's your best tackler, which I would probably have to agree with based on that one picture of him.
He is that Riot guy. I would say another one that I would have to give a shout out to is Julian. Julian,
of course, that's another guy I was going to bring up, dude. Guy always gets man of the match every time he plays us. Total stud. Like, he was balling out that game we played against you.
He's a phenomenal fullback. You always know he's going to make the tackle at the end, and he's strong. I
think he was paying more like 10 for you guys that game because you were so low on numbers. But yeah, he's good wherever he is.
And then of course our pickup, who played for the D3 Daddies that you've seen, is Midas. We didn't play in that game, but I've heard he was really good. He's another one that he's going to be great. I mean, we have a lot of young guys, a lot of guys that come in from experience. We were picking up guys that played rugby before in high school, and then gelling all those guys with the older guys. People are getting rejuvenated. Guys like Krenakis, myself, Gary want to be part of it. Krenakis and Steven, they did seem like they had a little bit more enthusiasm. I mean, those 2 never are very enthusiastic. Some of my better friends over there at the Reapers. But they seem to have a little bit of spark to them, especially Steve. Like, I'm sure it's because he wants to ball out against us, but he played a heck of a game. Oh yeah, and he and you see it like when he sees these younger guys. I think part of it is he's afraid of losing his position. He's competitive. He's competitive. Deep down, he acts like he doesn't care, but he cares. He absolutely. And then of course, our I think you were alluding to him earlier. Of course, who I will say is our fearless leader, who's on and off the field, is Marcus. I have to give him a shout out because he's the one who brings us all together. He's great on and off Marcus. Hey, Marcus, if you do hear this, which I know you don't support the pod, nothing but love over here, Marcus. We didn't steal your idea. Please come support the pod. We love you, buddy. So we're founder of the D3 Daddies, Mr. Marcus. Oh yeah, founder. Absolutely. And I hope we keep the D3 Daddies going. I'd love to see us in the summer. I think we'll be back next year. I think so too. So yeah, we're looking at so the one thing, the reason I was a little late is we have our 50th anniversary of rugby in Northwest Indiana. Reaper Rugby. Wow. What year was that started then? So it started as the Gary Rugby Club. And my understanding is, it was a combination of guys from Gary and Purdue, and even maybe down the road some Michigan City. But it started out where there was a guy out of Gary who had played in college, Tom Suris. I'll give him a shout out. And he met up with guys from Purdue. Neither of them could have teams on their own, so they basically joined together to get some numbers. And then eventually, a guy from IU, Rick Joliffe, who's one of the founding members of our club, they formed the Gary Rugby Club. And basically their first season was 1973. And then from there, at some point, they changed the name. They moved to Portage and changed the name to Northwest Indiana Rugby, not the Exiles. It was just Northwest Indiana Rugby. And then around 2001, we became the Exiles. then 2002, a couple guys that were former Exiles formed the Misfits. So then we had the Misfits and Exiles kind of competing with each other for many, many years. And then at some point around 2019, we kind of all started realizing that it was hard for both clubs to sustain themselves numbers wise. I think they would have 8 guys going to practice. We had 7 guys going to practice.
Yeah.
We were happy if 15 guys would show up, and luck would have it, we decided to form before COVID, and then right before it, and then our first couple of practices before COVID, we had like 30 guys come in, and then COVID hit. And I honestly don't believe either of the clubs would have survived on their own if we had not merged. And so we came. And so unfortunately, after COVID, for whatever reason, we didn't bring in as many guys from both clubs as we thought. So we struggled with numbers. And that's when we started picking up all these young guys from Illinois, from different places. And that we're finally seeing kind of a payoff of the 2 clubs, because, you
got a big recruiting zone.
Right. And we're the only show in town in Northwest Indiana.
So populated over there too, like Eastern Chicago, that whole Northwest Indiana. It's so populated.
The struggle we have is we don't have any high schools that play rugby. And
we're in the same boat.
And, Mishawaka, like the Michiana team has Penn, and they had Bethel College. They had all these guys. They had a recruiting ground and they had a really good teams. We have picked up some guys from Culver that play with us, but Culver doesn't even have a rugby club anymore. They dropped their club, the Culver Academy, which is a private high school. So I know we're trying to, and I guess we could segue to that. Well, one of the things we're trying to do down the road is create a youth league. But
what everyone's doing is to talk to Jeff, like I mentioned, he's working on it. We're working on it here in Rockford. It's good. We all need to get after it.
But back to our 50th. So
hold on. Just talk to you about that.
I didn't mean to get into such a history, but
we're already in this segue though about the youth rugby. Let's wrap that up real quick. So what's going on with that? Are you guys reaching out to high schools? How's it working?
Yeah, so right now I know we're starting at different levels. So I haven't been too involved in what's going on. I know this spring is when we're really.
So you don't care about the future of rugby. Cool, Mike.
So we definitely are looking at having a youth level rugby in this spring.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And have different levels.
Right.
Because we're so connected with, a former coach and player of the Exiles is now, runs pretty much the owner of the Sparta Dome, which is in Crown Point.
Okay.
And we have so many. What's that?
Is that Gibby's dad?
No, that's Tanny.
Okay.
And then and we have a lot of, the one thing in putting together this gala, because we have this weekend coming up where we have a cocktail reception and a banquet gala with 185 people coming.
Let's go.
To it. And all these people, we are very well connected. We just needed to use these resources. We have a lot of people that could provide us with assistance, financial assistance, or any kind of assistance we can utilize.
Getting back to what we were talking about, in the upcoming episode with Jeff, the man's doing everything over there. I think we got to give another shout out to, I don't know how your guys' board over there works, but I'm assuming Marcus has a lot to do with all this movement that's happening youth-wise, I've said it before to our team. I think you guys and Lake County, who's run by Jeff, have the best social media in Carpu, hands down. Like, you guys are just so all over it. Best swag, best just coverage in general. You guys do it right over there, and I think a lot of that emanates from Marcus.
Yeah, and on the social media, I'll give a shout out to Avery on that.
Yeah,
Avery's really been he's killing it, and then Marcus is, he's got his hands in everything, and he's been killing it. I mean, he really has with putting together, the things that we want to do, and there's a lot of things that we want to do moving forward that we're going to get portable lights. We're working on that because I don't know how your field is, but we don't have lights at our field. So, in the fall, at 6 o'clock.
You're not wrong. I was just thinking, I'm like, what do we need that for? And then I'm thinking about our late fall practices. It's like, yeah, we got to wrap around like 6:30. Like, all right, well, we didn't get everything we needed today, boys. But anyway, thanks for showing up. Like, Paul, we'll be showing up to some of those practices. Paul will be like, listen, warm ups today, 5 minutes. Like, make it quick, run through it.
Or we're playing with that big glow in the dark ball that's not even a real rugby ball,
or the sun setting right in your eyes as you're trying to catch a rugby ball during unopposed on a Thursday, and like Paul's losing his mind. It's like, nobody can see the ball, Paul. We're sorry.
No, I mean, it is, and you'll think it's getting dark. You'll think it's like, you'll be like, what time is it? 8? And you're like, no, it's 6:47. You're like, what?
It's crazy. Crazy, which is a blessing now in the days where it gets dark at 4:30. So anyway, so you guys are getting some lights for the field. Are you guys getting your own field or?
No, well, that's something that we've been talking about. I think that's part of our 10-year goal of getting some land. So that's why. But so we don't want to get caught in a situation where we put our own permanent lights in Hammond at the park, and then we then want to leave, or we get kicked out, or something happens.
Of course, that makes sense.
And then,
why would you invest in a temporary field? I totally understand that.
So we've talked about that, and I would love to do that down the road. Is actually buy some property, and use it, and then eventually get a clubhouse, and maybe down in like Crown Point, Lowell, somewhere where there's some farmland that's still available. Because I think that's the key. If we can get our own land, that would be phenomenal.
I mean, we just pulled it off ourselves. It was a very long process that Rich has been pushing for who knows how long, but it really started to become more of a thing during COVID when we got the actual availability from a different club here in Rockford. And man, it's a struggle. I'll tell you that. It's a lot that goes into it. So keep that on the back of your mind. So Crappin, 0-6 out of the boys this fall, but there's a lot of hope for them this coming fall. When I spoke to Marcus, he said, "We got some dogs. He's scared. We got some dogs." And so I believe it. What do you think? What's going on with the spring season? Do you guys have that lined up yet? What's happening?
So we do. So one thing is we are going to Nash Bash, not as a team or as the Reapers, but I think we're combining with Fox Valley and probably whoever else wants to join us. But we will be in Nash Bash, which is always a good time. 2 years ago, we took second, and I remember seeing your beautiful face in that lineup. You
could say that was our first time meeting, Crappin.
It was, and you had an impact on me. I was like, I think this guy's gonna be my lifelong best friend. I don't know what it is.
That's exactly what I felt as soon as I met you as well. I'm so glad we're on the same page. Crappin, tell us about the spring season.
Because, we're looking at one thing that we've been doing on the spring seasons that we like is doing a couple little bit of round robins, trying to schedule 2 teams. One benefit to that is we've been burned. I'm sure you guys have too, where the last minute cancellation.
Sure.
So that way, if we have 2 teams scheduled and one team backs out, at least we know one team is coming, and then we can just do a full 15. But we're starting. So this is kind of tentative. I think we're still waiting for some confirmations, but I know we're doing. We were taking Easter off, and then we were going to start April 6th. We were going to have like a little bit of probably some kind of event, a pub crawl, something, a scrimmage. Nice. And then we're going to do 6 weeks in a row. We're looking at, we have Kalamazoo and West Side from Indianapolis coming up on April 13th.
Wow.
We're going to go to the South Springfield April 20th. April 27th, we're going to host Fox Valley D2 versus Fort Wayne D2, and then we're going to play Fort Wayne D3. Then May 4th, we go to Michiana. May 11th, we have the Silverbacks, who I believe will ultimately be D3 in the fall, but we'll see what happens there. And then we end with a road trip to Traverse City against Traverse Bay, up in northern Michigan on May 18th, and turning that into
you guys are going for some really far games this spring, huh?
Yeah, we were. The Springfield one, I know Marcus had been wanting to put that one together, and then we were also going to do that with Sunday morning. but then Sunday morning couldn't make it that weekend. And I was confused when Marcus was talking about doing Springfield on Sunday morning. I thought he meant we were going to play Springfield
I was
on
also
Sunday
confused.
morning.
That was also I was like, so there's a rugby club called Sunday Morning?
I had no idea. So as he's like, yeah, we're going to do Springfield Sunday morning. And I was like, why would we play Springfield on Sunday morning? And
Valid question. Valid question. If you would have done it in that context, I also would have been confused.
So that's where we're looking. I think we have some good matches. I think let us know. I know Michiana is a strong team. That'll let us know where we are with them. And the Silverbacks, I don't know if you've ever played them, but they're a phenomenal D4 team. And
they won it all, right?
I said, they won the Midwest for D4.
So.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see them being pushed up to D3. Which would make sense because they're part
It really would. We kind of need another team. Like, it's at 7 right now, and it's uneven. Yeah. So I think another team would.
And they're part of CRC, so you would have the Griffins at D1, Condors at D2, and Silverbacks at D3. So it makes sense.
So they're out of Chicago, basically.
Yeah, they are. Okay.
They're CRC.
My understanding they were part of like a youth program or youth league team from the Condors. The Condors kind of started them or worked with them, and then they all combined with as CRC.
Gotcha.
But they're a great team. We usually try to play them every spring.
That's interesting. I'm gonna try to talk to Skip about that one. We already got a lot of people who want to play us in the spring, so we got our schedule full.
I was gonna say, who do you guys have?
So we have Skip putting that together, and Skip likes to move at Skip's pace. So I think as of right now, we don't have anything confirmed.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have full confidence in him. There's a board meeting coming up, so I'm sure other people with more authority than myself will be asking Skip these hard questions. As far as
believe me, if it was just me, but Marcus was all over me to make sure that we had this schedule. He was like,
and there's no reason for it to not be totally locked in. I could be wrong. Skip might already be reaching out to people. He did just get reelected. Shout out to Skip as our match secretary. So I'm sure he, like I said, I have full confidence. He'll figure it out. But yeah, we did not have our spring season together just yet, Michael, but I will let you know. I'll send you an email about it as soon as we do. Right. Well, we've covered some basic stuff. I know you took a lot of notes on this, though. So let me ask you, did we miss anything? Anything else you want to talk about with this team?
No, I was looking at, some of the other things we got going on and seeing what you guys do too. Like, so I know one thing that we hadn't done before that we're starting to do is besides winter conditioning, we're going to actually start doing winter weight training as a team. We're trying to do winter weight training. And so we have two things lined up. Starting January 7th, we're going to be doing weight training, and then starting February 7th, we're going to do the indoor winter conditioning. So I wasn't sure if you guys have ever done weight training together, if that ever works.
We should. We just this past week, some of the backs started to put together a little bit of a run around. So I think they're going to start doing that weekly. So I might start getting involved in that now. But the Ravens have always been a very much of it's the off season. Don't talk to me about rugby. A lot of these guys, we kind of have a lot of veterans over here, a lot of guys who've been here for many, many years. So a lot of them, they just don't want to hear about rugby during their off season. It's one of the reasons we joined the D3 Daddies, because there's just not a lot of guys who want to do anything in the summer. Not to be cocky, but I will say that Memorial 10's tournament that we actually won a playoff game in, hands down the most Ravens we've had during this year, at least at a D3 Daddies tournament. We had 6 Ravens there. I think the most we had in all the other tournaments was like 3 at every tournament. So I know the Ravens are good when we get out there and when we play together, but the guys definitely like their time off too. So I think that's why we haven't heard a lot from the Ravens right now. One thing I do want to throw in there too is the importance of coaching, because we mentioned running through a season without a coach. We went down to play Northwest Indiana, as you mentioned, very tight game. I think 17-5 final score. He ended up costing the Ravens dearly because we needed that bonus point. And that was a game we did not have Paul Jennings for. So, it matters. Right. Coaching absolutely matters, especially in a game like that where you're maybe getting down there and you get punched in the face when you didn't think you were going to get punched in the face. And it's boiling hot and tensions are rising high. It's nice to have a coach to kind of settle everything down and get the guys refocused.
Right. Or even pulling guys out or doing key substitutions.
100%.
No one wants to come out of the match, but if we have a coach sitting there that sees, hey, Crepin's got to get out of there. He's missed every tackle.
Not usually the case. When Crepin gets there, he gets the tackle.
All right, exactly. I may get run over a little bit, but I'll hang on.
But you'll get the tackle. Hey man, it's called business decisions at our age.
Well, so we do have another thing. So this weekend coming up, I was saying we have a cocktail reception, and then one thing we're doing is an alumni match between the old boys and young boys. And not when I say young boys, I say it loosely because I might be a young boy. But and then we're doing that at the Sparta Dome, an indoor. We're going to do it indoors, so that'll be fun. Nice. Although I kind of question why we'd have the match before the banquet, because we might all end up getting hurt. Especially since I haven't run. I don't think I had COVID. I got COVID in November. And I haven't run since. And so now I'm going to play rugby.
You're going to be gassed, man. Good luck with that. Off-season training is rough. Anything else there, Crepin?
No. I was going to say, I think I did write out notes. I think I covered everything on my list.
Love that you did that. Appreciate it. I want to throw at you. Obviously, we see the Titans hat there. What do you think of your boy Will Levis?
So it's funny that you bring that up, because I'm not actually a Titans fan. And I think
I know you like the hockey team. I know you like the Predators fan.
I'm not. So my daughters live in Nashville. So I have so I have Predators guard. I have Titans. I have Vanderbilt. And so and I wear these things and then it was today, because it was funny because I always forget I'm even wearing this Titans hat. And someone asked me, I'm at the bank in Northwest. He's like, so who do the Titans have? And I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, there's a teller at the bank. I'm like, who do the Titans have? I'm like, who the Gladiators? What are you talking about? And then it hit me that I'm wearing a Titans hat. I was like, oh man.
He's like, this fair weather fan.
Right. Then I had to explain. I'm like, well, I'm actually a Bears fan, and and then at that point, he had the glaze.
The glass over. Yeah, for sure. He's like, all right, dude, whatever. Just get out of here. Take your money.
He's like, why are you bothering me now?
That's funny. So you do like Peyton then as a Bears fan. I won't even ask you your opinion on Justin Fields, because we probably have had enough Bears fans on this pod to tell us they don't believe in the kid. I don't know. Do you like him? Do you believe in him?
You know what? I do. I think the problem with Justin Fields, and I think a lot of people also would agree, that he's just not being used properly. I think the coach has got to go. My thing is the coach has got to go.
Mr. Eberflus has got to be out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
he has a cool last name, but maybe not the best coach.
No, he's just got to go. I mean,
understandable.
He's made some bad decisions, and I think Justin Fields could be a great quarterback. I really do. I think he's in par with a lot of the other young quarterbacks that you see are very good. I think he's misused. And they do need better receiving core. And we need probably a better running back, like an actual featured running back. Love to pick up the kid from Notre Dame.
Could be a good move.
They would.
But yeah, I see what you mean. He probably could use a couple more weapons around him.
I mean, that's key. If they can have like a featured running back, a guy that is going to get you your 4 or 5 yards every time he touches the ball. That's what they need.
True. That's what every good NFL team could use, honestly. Exactly. It's a good stuff. Last thing I wanted to ask you, when we were talking about the formation of the Northwest Indiana Reapers, Misfits, whatever it is you guys started as, what year was that?
So it would have been it was 2019 when we started putting it together. And
no, but I mean, like you said, like when they first formed this whole thing back in the day with like the guy from Michigan City, some of them, but
so we started in 1973.
73. Okay, so you guys got 3 years on the Ravens. That's kind of crazy. I didn't realize that.
When did you? I thought you guys started in 73 as well.
We're 76.
Oh, okay, yeah. Huh. So they actually started technically in 72, but our first season was in 73.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I know we kind of have our 50th coming up. It's good for you guys. You're already hitting it. That's really cool. It's good to
Yeah,
see.
no, it's awesome to see. All these. I think the Griffins had their 50th. I mean, a lot of teams are getting close to their 50th. Besides us, someone else. I think Peoria just had their 50th.
No
So
kidding.
it is cool to see all that.
Absolutely. Some heritage. Let's hope we can keep building it with the next generation of young rugby players. So yeah, shout out to the Reapers. Solid year. A lot of improvement to be shown. Shout out to Braden, you said? Mr. Thunder
Yeah,
Thighs
yeah.
himself. Shout out to Braden. Shout out to Marcus. We do love you, Marcus. Thanks a lot for coming on, Creppin. This has been Sports by Compian, people. Thanks for tuning in. Out!